Dear friend, today we will see the anatomy of lacrimal apparatus. Lacrimal apparatus. Lacrimal apparatus is the structure which include the synthesis and secretion of the lacrimal fluid and drainage of this lacrimal fluid towards the nose. Okay, so the structure which include this whole function of the synthesis and drainage of the lacrimal fluid is known as the lacrimal apparatus. Now, what are the structure which are included in lacrimal apparatus? First is the lacrimal gland. In spite of this, there is an accessory lacrimal gland. We will see the accessory lacrimal gland, then conjunctival sac, then lacrimal canaliculi. Okay, for this lacrimal sac, fifth is nasolacrimal duct. Nasolacrimal duct. In the lacrimal gland also included the duct. Okay, so these are the structure, five structure which include the secretion of the lacrimal fluid and then drainage of this lacrimal fluid towards the nasal cavity. Now, what are the structure? Now, come see one by one. First is the lacrimal gland. Look here, if you draw the diagram here, this is the conjunctiva, this is the medial side, conjunctiva, lacus lacrimalis here, and so first come the lacrimal gland. Now this lacrimal gland is the almond shaped gland which has the two part, deeper part and the superficial part. This is the deeper part and this is superficial part here. Okay, here. This is deep part, and in between the two part there is a presence of the lateral margin of the levator palpebri superioris muscle here. The concave margin lies between the superficial part and the deep part, or we can say this is the orbital part. Okay, this part is orbital part, and this is the here the palpebral part. Okay, so between the orbital part and the palpebral part lies this levator palpebris superioris muscle. Now, if you see the orbital part is large. It is present in the here a fossa on the zygomatic process of the frontal bone here on the roof of the orbit here. This is the roof of the orbit here. This is the frontal bone, zygomatic process of the frontal bone here, and this is the fossa here. Okay, lies, and this orbital part inferiorly here adhere to the fascia of the levator palpebris superioris muscle, and superiorly it is also adhere with the orbital periosteum. It is attached, adhere. Okay, so whole gland is fixed here, orbital part here. So this is orbital part here. Okay, so orbital part, if you see, is related inferiorly to the levator palpebris superioris. Superiorly it is related to the orbital, the fossa in the zygomatic process of the frontal bone. Clear? And this is the palpebral part. Palpebral part is a small part which lies in the upper lid. Okay, lateral part of the upper lid, just above the lateral end of the conjunctival sac, superior part here. Okay, here, or we can say the lateral end of the superior fornix here. So it is between the superior fornix and the levator pelvis superior is in the lateral part of the upper lip here. So this is the deep part or the palpebral part. Okay, here. So this part. Now, what are the ducts? If you see the duct of this gland, I am drawing the different color. Okay, just black color. Yes. Okay. Now, duct from the orbital part, they traverses through the palpebral part and then open here, like this. There are about 8 to 12 ducts are there. Okay, in which 4 to 5 ducts are in the deeper part or the orbital part. Okay, and 6 to 8 ducts come from the palpebral part here. Okay, these are the duct. Okay, so the orbital part ducts passes through the palpebral part and then drain into the conjunctival sac. It means if you remove the palpebral part of the gland only, it means you have to remove the whole gland here, because this duct from the orbital part passes through the palpebral part. Clear? So these are the ducts which open into the superior fornix on the lateral side. Clear? These are the duct. Now, in spite of these, are the accessory lacrimal glands are there in the superior fornix, mainly majority it is in the superior fornix here, and also in the inferior fornix, but less in number in the inferior fornix. Okay, in the lid. Clear here? So these are the accessory duct which directly release the lacrimal fluid into the conjunctival sac here. Now, if you remove this duct here, this gland, okay, the main lacrimal gland, so accessory lacrimal glands are sufficient to release the lacrimal fluid which moisten this conjunctival sac and the cornea and the sclera. So no harm occur if you accidentally remove or any pathological conditions there which we have to force to remove this main lacrimal gland. So accessory lacrimal glands are sufficient to release the secretion. Okay, here. So these are the accessory lacrimal gland. Now these lacrimal glands are release the lacrimal fluid which bath this conjunctival sac, and this conjunctival sac, through this conjunctival sac, it nourishes the cornea and moisten this cornea and the conjunctiva. Then this fluid passes through the conjunctival sac, okay, this conjunctival sac and the fornix, and then enter into these are the canaliculi, superior canaliculi, and this is inferior canaliculi or the lower canaliculi. Then these canaliculi open into the lacrimal sac here, lacrimal sac. This lacrimal sac then continues as a nasolacrimal duct. Okay, here, and this lacrimal duct opens into the inferior meatus in the nasal cavity here. So whole of the fluid passes through this lacrimal canaliculi to and enter into the lacrimal sac, then into the nasolacrimal duct here. Now this gland, the lacrimal gland, is a racemose type of the gland. Okay, it is a racemose type, racemose type of gland which is serous in secretion, serous in secretion, and this is the tubulo-alveolar gland. The nature of the gland is structure the tubulo-alveolar. Okay, tubulo-alveolar. So racemose type of this gland secrete the serous fluid, tubulo-alveolar gland, and the secretion of this gland are alkaline. Secretion of the gland is alkaline. line in nature. Okay, and it also contains a lysozyme. Okay, lysozyme. It contains a lysozyme which is bactericidal, so it or kill the bacteria whichever present in the here conjunctival sac here. Clear? So these are the this is the quality of the fluid, lacrimal fluid, which is secreted, and around 1 ml of the lacrimal fluid secreted per day. Okay, and this lacrimal fluid is prevented for evaporation, okay, by the presence of the oily fluid in the lacrimal in the conjunctival secretion by the tarsal gland. Okay, tarsal gland prevent the evaporation of this fluid here. So what's happened? In spite of this, half of the fluid is evaporated while half of the fluid is drained into the canaliculi and into the lacrimal sac here. Clear? So this is how this is fluid is come from the lacrimal gland, enter into the conjunctival sac and then drain into. So this is about the fluid. And what is the function of this fluid and the tears? Function of the tears is first is flushes the conjunctival sac here, okay, and keep the cornea and the conjunctiva moist. Moisture is developed here first. So moisture, okay. Second is it gives rise to the nutrition to the cornea, okay, here, or nourishment to the cornea, and then bactericidal due to the presence of the lysozyme, and the fifth is that it express the emotion in form of tears. Okay, so the four functions of this lacrimal gland. Lacrimal gland will secrete the lacrimal fluid. It moisturize the cornea and the conjunctiva. It gives the nutrition to the cornea, bactericidal due to the presence of the lysozyme, and expresses as a act of the emotion due to the presence of the tears. Okay, so these are the function of this. Now, what are the factors which involved in the drainage of this lacrimal fluid and the conjunctival fluid? Okay, these are the factors. Certain factors are there. First is here the capillary action of the fluid. When the eye blink, here one capillary space is formed between the closed eyelid and the conjunctiva. Okay, so capillary space is formed, and through this capillary space this fluid is drained here. So one is the capillary action of the fluid here. If I write here capillary action, this drainage of the fluid. Okay, second is blinking action, movement of the lid. Okay, blinking movement of lid. Due to that, sometime what's happened, if the dryness of the cornea occur, so blinking action is generated by the orbicularis oculi muscle, and this blinking action further drain the fluid here towards the canaliculi to prevent the dryness of the, okay. So blinking movement of the lid. Third is the fluid pass to the lacus lacrimalis along a groove between the lower eyelid. I told you here the lower, because the whole of the fluid passes through the lower fornix here. Okay, so whole of the fluid passes towards the lacus lacrimalis here or the lacrimal canaliculi, and then through the groove here, okay, or the inferior fornix. Clear? So it passes towards the lacus lacrimalis and then towards the canaliculi. Then the fourth is inward turning of the lacrimal puncta here. Okay, this is lacrimal puncta. When the orbicularis oculi muscle contract here, what's happened? This due to the closing of the eye to the movement of the lid, this lacrimal punctum goes inside. Okay, so when go inside, the lacrimal fluid easily enters into the lacrimal puncta. Clear? So it is easily aspirate. Okay. And the fifth is fluid is aspirated then through the lacrimal caniculi and lacrimal into the lacrimal sac by the action of the orbicularis oculi muscle, especially the lacrimal part of the orbicularis oculi muscle. When I will come later on, here the orbicularis oculi, the lacrimal part, when contract, it relieves the pressure over the lacrimal sac here. So when the lacrimal sac pressure is relieved here, lacrimal sac dilates. So vacuum is created, and then through this vacuum here the fluid enters into the lacrimal sac, then enter into lacrimal duct here. So they are the five. So third was here the fluid passes through the lacrimal sac to the inferior fornix. Inferior fornix. Fourth was there was the inward turning of lacrimal papilla or puncta. Okay. Fifth is this orbicularis oculi contraction. Orbicularis oculi, lacrimal part. Lacrimal part contraction. So these are the five factors which help in the drainage of this fluid. Okay. So this is the lacrimal gland and the lacrimal duct and lacrimal fluid here. Now if you see the arterial supply of this lacrimal gland, so arterial supply comes from the lacrimal artery here. Lacrimal artery which comes from the ophthalmic branch, okay, ophthalmic artery, and supply the lacrimal gland here. And then the nerve supply. If you see the nerve supply of the lacrimal gland, nerve is the two type, sensory nerves and the motor nerve. Sensory nerve here which carry the sensation, it carries through the lacrimal nerve. Lacrimal nerve, branch of the ophthalmic division of the trigeminal nerve. So sensory sensation from the lacrimal gland passes through the lacrimal nerve. Then the motor, secretomotor fiber. How the secretomotor fiber passes to us? Look here. Secretomotor fiber. Secretomotor fibers to gland. They are the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, first comes the parasympathetic. Okay, because they have the long tracing. Parasympathetic fiber start from the lacrimetry nucleus. Lacrimetry nucleus, which is present in the pons. Okay, fiber passes through the nervous intermediates of the facial nerve. Nervous intermediates of facial nerve, then passes through the facial nerve, okay, then passes up to the geniculate ganglia. To the geniculate ganglia of facial nerve. Okay, then from the geniculate ganglia, the greater petrosal nerve start. Greater petrosal nerve. Okay, and this greater petrosal nerve pierces the roof of the medullary cavity and passes through the greater petrosal hiatus or the hiatus for the greater petrosal nerve and reaches towards the foramen lacerum. Foramen lacerum, and through the foramen lacerum here in the upper part of foramen lacerum, the another nerve come. They which carry the sympathetic fiber, the deep petrosal nerve. Deep petrosal nerve. So this fiber passes both greater petrosal nerve to form the nerve of pterygoid canal. Because both nerve, greater petrosal nerve and deep petrosal unite to form the nerve pterygoid canal, which passes through the nerve through the pterygoid canal and enter into the pterygopalatine ganglia. pterygopalatine ganglia in pterygopalatine fossa. Pterygopalatine fossa, which is present in the, okay. So pterygopalatine ganglia, this fiber passes into the pterygopalatine ganglia, and in the pterygopalatine ganglia fiber relay. Okay, this is the preganglionic fiber relay here. Okay, and the postganglionic fiber start from the pterygopalatine ganglia through the zygomatic nerve. So the zygomatic nerve of the maxillary nerve, and then zygomatic nerve then enters into the orbit, okay, through the inferior orbital fissure, and the zygomatic nerve divide into the zygomatico-fascial, and zygomatico-temporal nerve. Okay, so this fiber, the postganglionic fiber, passes through the zygomatico-temporal nerve. Okay, here. So the zygotemporal nerve enters into the here in the orbit and the lateral side of the orbit here. Okay, in the lateral surface or lateral wall of the orbit, this zygomatico-temporal nerve, which carry the postganglionic secretomotor fiber of the parasympathetic system, this nerve, this fiber, then here this fiber unite with the lacrimal nerve, which come from the lateral side here, which is the division of the ophthalmic nerve here. So this secretomotor fiber of the zygomatico-temporal passes through the lacrimal nerve and then supply the lacrimal gland. Okay, here supply the lacrimal gland here. Clear? Which is this lacrimal nerve, okay, the sensory sensation, and these are the secretomotor. So in this fashion, the secretomotor fiber of the parasympathetic system passes through this route here. Sympathetic fiber passes through the artery. Whenever the lacrimal artery passes here and supply the gland, okay, here. So this lacrimal artery carry this fiber. The sympathetic fiber, which comes from the deep petrosal nerve, enters into the pterygopalatine ganglia. Without relay, it then passes through the artery, around the artery, and supply the gland. Okay, so in this fashion, the secretomotor fiber of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system passes towards the lacrimal gland and give the lacrimal supply. Okay, so this is the nerve supply of the lacrimal gland. Now after this, come on the second part, the conjunctival sac here. This conjunctival sac is formed by the reflection of the palpebral conjunctiva. Okay, palpebral, this is, suppose here, suppose this is the lid. Okay, this is the skin, and this skin on the inner side, it is continue with the palpebral conjunctiva, and this palpebral conjunctiva returns towards the here the eyeball here like this, and here. So this sac is formed here between the palpebral part of the conjunctiva and the ocular conjunctiva here, and this is the fornix, superior fornix. Same thing in the lower lid. If you draw the lower lid like this here, so like this. Okay, so this is okay. So lower lid. So this is the inferior fornix, superior fornix, and this is the conjunctival sac here. And this conjunctival sac here, this conjunctival sac. So fluid passes into the conjunctival sac, and through the inferior fornix it reaches towards the inferior punctum, lacrimal punctum, and superior fornix for superior fornix. So in this fashion, fluid passes towards the lacrimal or lacus lacrimalis, and this is the lacus lacrimalis here, a medial 1/6 part here. And this lacus lacrimalis is the concave fold. Okay, this lacus semilunaris here, semilunar fold, and medial side there is a lacrimal caruncle, a red color bulging of the skin from the lower eyelid. This is okay. So this triangular area is the lacus lacrimalis, this lacrimal caruncle, and this is lacus semilunaris, the fold here. Clear? Now come on the lacrimal canaliculi. Lacrimal canaliculi are 2 in number, superior and inferior, 10 millimeter in length. Start from the lacrimal punctum. Upper lacrimal canaliculi first ascends upward, okay, here, and then downward and medially and open into the upper end of the lacrimal sac. Here the inferior lacrimal canaliculi start from the inferior punctum, lacrimal punctum, first passes downward, okay, then horizontally, almost horizontally or slightly upward and medially and opened into the lower end of the lacrimal sac here. So both lacrimal canaliculi opens on the medial wall of the lacrimal sac. Clear? So this is, and these lacrimal canaliculi carry the lacrimal fluid here. Clear? And this turning here, especially this is here, the turning here, the downward portion, this part slightly dilated here. Okay, this side, and this is known as the ampulla. Okay, this is known as the ampulla, slight dilated part here. Clear? So this is here. Now structure. What about the structure? If you see the structure, the lining epithelium of the lacrimal canaliculi is that lined by the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, here, and outer to this epithelium there is a elastic fiber. Okay, a sheet of the elastic fiber passes just beneath the basement membrane of the epithelium here. Okay, so this dilated fiber responsible for the dilatation of this lacrimal canaliculi. When the blockage occur, we put the wire and dilate this lacrimal canaliculi, or we can inject the fluid to open this channel here. So elastic fiber present, and outside the elastic fiber there the fiber of the orbicularis oculi also passes here. Okay, so orbicularis oculi striated muscle fiber passes through this here, and this fiber, this outside to the elastic fiber here. Clear? So these are the three structures in the wall of the canaliculi: the epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium, elastic fiber, and the muscle fiber here. Clear? So this is the lacrimal canaliculi. Now come on the lacrimal sac here. This lacrimal sac. This lacrimal sac is a dilated part. Upper end is blind and the lower end is continued with the nasolacrimal duct here. And this is about 12 millimeter long. Okay, here 12 millimeter long and 3 millimeter wide here. 3 millimeter wide. Okay, here. So this is the size and situation. What about the situation? This lacrimal sac is situated here in the lacrimal fossa of the, here the lacrimal process of the this is a maxillary bone here. This is the lacrimal process of the, here the zygomatic bone. Okay, here maxillary bone. So here, so this is present here, lower part, and upper part also extend towards the lacrimal bone here. So this is the lacrimal bone. So both lacrimal, this lacrimal process of the maxilla and the lacrimal bone form this lacrimal fossa, where the lacrimal sac lies here. Okay, so this is the lacrimal fossa here. Clear? Now if you see the relation, okay, here, and if you take the cross section of this lacrimal sac is flattened side to side. Okay, on cross section it is upper sac is flattened from side to side. Okay, and lower part of the sac is rounded here. Okay, here, so it is side to side flattened, lower part is rounded. Clear? Now relation, if you see the relation of the sac, so for the relation just draw a diagram. Okay, look here. This is the lacrimal bone. Okay. Here, This is the half, upper part is lacrimal bone and the lower part is the maxillary bone. Okay, here. This is the lacrimal fossa here. Okay, where the lacrimal sac is situated here. Okay, and here is this is the lacrimal fascia, which extend from the posterior lacrimal crest to anterior lacrimal crest here. This is the anterior lacrimal crest, this is the posterior lacrimal crest. Okay, here. And here is this is suppose this is the medial palpebral ligament, which is attached to the anterior lacrimal crest. Okay, here. And here, this is the lacrimal part of the orbicularis oculi muscle, which is attached at the lacrimal bone and the lacrimal fascia. Okay, lacrimal fascia here. This lacrimal fascia. Okay. So now, if you see relation anteriorly it is related to the, okay, here the medial palpebral ligament here. Okay, this medial palpebral ligament related anterior to this fossa and the anterior and the lacrimal crest or the anterior lacrimal crest here. Okay, here. Yeah, so this is the anterior lacrimal crest and the medial palpebral ligament. Posteriorly, it is related to the here the orbicularis oculi fiber. Okay, lacrimal part of the orbicularis oculi fiber, which arises from the lacrimal bone and the crest of the lacrimal bone, of the posterior lacrimal crest and the fascia here. Okay, so posteriorly related here. Laterally, it is related to the lacrimal fascia. Okay, and in between the lacrimal fascia and the sac, there is a venous plexus. Okay, venous plexus is there here. So laterally, there is a lacrimal fascia which extends from the anterior to posterior lacrimal crest and the minute venous plexus. Medially it is related to the lacrimal bone and the maxillary bone here. Okay, which lies here, and there is a arterial plexus, and arterial plexus is formed here on the medial side, which formed by the facial artery, branch of the facial artery on the medial angle of the eye. Okay, here. So here, and further medially, if you go further medially, here this is further medially, it is related to the anterior ethmoidal sinus. This is the anterior ethmoidal sinus, and here further medially and downward related to the middle meatus. Okay, this is the middle meatus. Okay, so this is middle meatus related. Clear? So this is how this sac is related medially. Clear? So these are relation of the sac, and if you see the structure of the sac, again this sac is lined by the epithelium. Okay, and this epithelium is the columnar epithelium. Okay, double layer thick. Okay, double layer thick. This sac, whole sac is lined by the double layer thick columnar epithelium, and outside the epithelium there is elastic fiber. Okay, here elastic fiber outside the, suppose this is the sac. Okay, this is suppose this is the sac is here, and this is the epithelium. Okay, columnar epithelium, and outside the columnar epithelium there is the elastic fiber which are dilatable. Okay, so this is the lacrimal sac. Okay, and inferiorly it opens into continues as a nasolacrimal duct. Clear? Now come on the nasolacrimal duct. Nasolacrimal duct is a downward continuation of the lacrimal sac here. It is about 18 millimeter length, okay, and inferiorly it opens into the inferior meatus, okay. Here it first passes for the bony canal here, and this bony canal is formed by the maxilla, lacrimal bone and the inferior meatus here, or inferior concha, sorry, this is the inferior concha, okay, and this is the here the maxillary bone, okay. Here this is the lacrimal bone, so here this here start the I think this is here start the lacrimal duct here in this position, okay. So in this position lacrimal duct start, descends downward towards the and covered by these bones in the bony canal and opens into the inferior meatus. So this is the inferior meatus, okay. Here this is inferior meatus, this is inferior concha, this separate bone, and this inferior meatus, and opens into the inferior meatus, okay. So when it opens into the inferior meatus here, so lower opening here is guarded by a mucosal fold, okay. Here opening is guarded or closed by a mucosal fold, okay, of the mucosa, and this mucosal fold is known as the valve of the Hessner. Valve of Hessner, okay. Here this mucosal fold here. So this valve of the Hessner, of the mucosal fold, prevent the air blow of the air or sucking of the air inside the nasolacrimal duct and here, okay, into the canaliculi. So this valve act as a valve-like mechanism, okay, which prevent the blowing up of the air inside the lacrimal sac here, or the conjunctival sac. Now structure of the duct here, if you see the structure of the duct, this duct again is lined by the columnar epithelium, double layer of the columnar epithelium, same as the lacrimal sac, okay, double layer of the columnar epithelium. I am drawing only the single layer here, and outside this layer there is the elastic fiber, again elastic tissue, elastic fiber passes outside the epithelium, okay. Here so elastic fiber, fibroelastic coat is there, and this fibroelastic coat again here is surrounded by the vein, okay, venous plexus here. Yes. Outside the venous, this elastic coat, there is a venous plexus, okay. Here so what a venous engorgement sometime occur here, and it obstruct the gland or block the this duct here. So venous engorgement due to the presence of the venous plexus. So venous engorgement around the duct sometime block or obstruct the duct here, okay. So and this leads to the accumulation of the fluid here, and may lead to the infection of the sac and the lacrimal canaliculus, okay. So this is the lacrimal duct, okay. And if you see the sometime this canaliculi are infected, infection occur here, and this infection is known as dacryocystitis. Dacryocystitis. And sometimes the dacryorhinocystitis, when this gland or the duct is also involved here. So dacryorhinocystitis. So two conditions occur, either dacryocystitis, infection of the or inflammation of the here the canaliculi, and the dacryorhinocystitis, the whole this sac and the duct is involved, okay. So this is, I think, all about the lacrimal apparatus. Thank you.